In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Otto Hutt Design 7 fountain pen. I'll go over the specs, I will do a writing sample, and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about this pen coming up. Blake here with Blake's Broadcast. On this channel, I review fountain pens, paper, and ink, and as always, I put links to the show notes in the description below. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, it really helps out my channel. Alright, let's get on with the review. The Otto Hutt Design 7 fountain pen, and I have it here in the PVD black color, and this is a very high-end fountain pen from Otto Hutt. Now, in terms of their range, the CC is at the top. That was their 100-year anniversary pen, which is solid sterling silver. Very pretty pen designed by Mark Brown. And then there is the Design 8, which I did a review of. I'll put a link to that up in the corner. That was also designed by Mark Brown. That was a more expensive pen. And then one below that is here the Design 7. Now, the Design 7, along with the Design 5 and 6 were designed by Christian Rose. I have not been able to find much on that designer. He used to have a website. It seems to be dead, so I don't really know anything about Christian Rose. I just know he designed those 3 pens for Otto Hutt. In terms of the pen here, the price of this pen is right around $1,000 retail, and it comes in a couple other finishes. If you want one in solid sterling silver, it's the same price as this black PVD, but then if you want a platinum plated with a lacquer coating, then it's only 786 euros only. Still quite an expensive pen. I was able to get this for a very deep discount from Atlas Stationers maybe a year or two ago, and at that price I said okay. I believe it was just under $400 I paid for this pen. And I thought I'd give it a whirl. I had just gotten the Design 8 and I loved the quality of it, but it was too heavy. And this seemed like something that was made in the same quality, but was more approachable as an everyday pen. And I think that's kind of what this pen is. Now, if I were to buy one again today and I wasn't tempted by some crazy deal on the black one, I would go for the platinum plated one with a lacquer coating. I think that one just has the most wow factor, although I do love the black PVD. The sterling silver ones, I don't really care for. The trims on the sterling silver ones are not sterling silver, so the sterling silver parts are going to patina, but the trim pieces will not, and I just don't think it's going to look that good. I also, in terms of design, the Design 8 and the CC are much better looking pens than this. This pen could have been, an 8 or 9 out of 10 in looks if they moved the waistline up to about here. But right where it sits now, it's almost like a 50-50 split. I mean, not quite. There's too much weight up top here. So visually, I don't really love the look of this pen. Now, in terms of the design here, it's solid brass with a black PVD coating, which is matte on the body and then high gloss on the trims. And there are these, I don't know if I want to call it fluting, in the barrel and the cap. And, these are all done by like a CNC type machine. It's hard to say what is done by hand. I mean, maybe hand assembled. They're deeper in the middle, and then they kind of, like the machine is like scooping up out towards the end, so you get these finer, crisper points, which I think looks really good. I have to say, Otto Hutt quality is really, really excellent. Like when it comes to things like PVD and metal finishing, I think they are one of the very, very best. The quality is just phenomenal. Now, the clip is a very flat kind of rectangle. It's a little bit rounded on the sides, but it's pretty much a rectangle, and there is a little bit of a round profile to the side of it, so it is a little bit rounded in profile. Very well made, spring loaded, finished underneath, so beautiful. Same quality finishing on the top as the bottom, which you don't always get on fountain pen clips, so that's really, really good. The finial here is recessed a little bit, and you can see the OH for Otto Hutt. Laser engraved, looks pretty good. Laser engraving, I don't know, I suppose it's not the cleanest, but for laser type engraving, I think it looks really good. I assume this is laser engraving. I could be wrong about that, so if I'm wrong about that, let me know. I guess we should talk about the overall shape. Sorry, I'm all over the place on this. So it's fattest about right here on the cap, and then it very slightly tapers towards the top, And then on the cap ring, it says Otto Hutt, and I think laser engraved. And then on the back, it says Germany, and there's a number there. And it does taper down, so it's not a straight cap ring. And again, pretty square throughout the body, and then it does taper very slightly towards the point, and then a lot more taper at the end of those engravings there. The bottom of the pen's just gloss PVD coating. Now it is threaded, and we have a really pretty Otto Hutt nib. The black version is this high gloss black finish. I believe in the other three finishes, you get a also beautiful two-tone silver with gold finish. I think they have one of the best looking nib designs. These are JoWo nibs. My understanding is that they are threaded. Otto Hutt, as far as JoWo nibs go, they're spending a lot of money to have these look this nice and this well finished. I don't know if they do the plating for them in-house, but I think the engraving has to be done from JoWo. They're not doing like a cheap laser engraving like a lot of other pens do. So looks really nice. We have a high gloss grip section here, which does taper down before fluting out. There is this nice little like dimple that almost shows off like separation between like the very top of the grip section and where you're kind of supposed to hold it. There's just like a little indentation ring. Nice threading here. So in terms of the cap, it's one full turn to remove roughly. Very nice pen. It does post pretty securely. It becomes like for my hand, it's pretty well balanced. If you have smaller hands, it might become a little bit top heavy. But I would also just be careful about marking up the finish. The finish on this pen, like I said, is really good. I haven't put any marks on it by doing that, but I pretty much always write with it unposted. And you do get a very nice Otto Hutt branded converter, standard international converter. It does come with a leather pen sleeve, I believe, but they're really tight. I haven't actually put the pen in there because it feels really tight. Now let's do some size and weight. 136, 137, about 123, about 165. So it gets pretty long when it's posted, and it is relatively top heavy. Now, in terms of the grip section, widest point here, looking at 11.5, and then at the narrowest about 9.1. So it's a good sized grip section, very comfortable. The Design 8 has these like ridges in it, which are not comfortable. This is super comfortable, and I don't find it particularly slippery, even though it is a high gloss finish on here. Very nice, well-made pen here. Okay, let's do some size comparisons real quick. This is an Aurora Optima. You can see that it is a decent amount bigger than that. Here it is with a Aurora Ypsilon. Similar, very similar in length, but quite a bit thicker. Show it with what I would consider an oversized pen. This is a Nino Marino signature pen by Mayora. This is, a properly huge pen. And finally, with a rather fat pen, this is the Knights pen from Faber-Castell. So it's pretty similar in size to a pen of the year from Faber-Castell. Similar finishes. I would say the fit and finish between these two pens is very similar. Obviously, this is a lot more expensive pen than this, but the quality there is, in terms of the finishing, I think is very comparable. For the writing sample, I'm going to be using a Papermind Mitsubishi Bank Paper notebook. These notebooks are excellent with fountain pens, and for Blake's broadcasts, viewers and subscribers, you can get 10% off with code BB10 at checkout. Otto Hutt Design 07, and this is Teranishi. Probably not, I'm not spelling that right. Teranishi? Opera Rose. And this is a medium nib. Medium and okay, and we'll try fast writing. This is not a particularly wet ink, in my opinion, and we are getting some skipping there for sure. Why is that? It's just not. I think this was a bad combination for this particular nib, but in normal writing, I have zero issues with the performance of it. The nib is quite smooth. I would say this is a true medium. The Otto Hutt nibs, in my experience, are finer than typical Western nibs, which is weird because this is, a Yovo nib. They are soft, I mean, they are relatively soft. You're not going to really notice much line variation in normal writing, but you can push on them a little bit. We do have some railroading, but again, it's really this ink versus the nib here. It's just been a fantastic everyday kind of a luxury, everyday kind of writing experience. It's quite smooth. It starts up right away. You put ink in this pen and it's ready to write right away. It's just a really nice writing pen. And so what are my pros and cons for the Otto Hutt Design 7 fountain pen? The build quality is excellent. I think the fit and finish is some of the best that you can get. And the PVD coating is really, really nice. I love the all black look with the matte body and cap, and then the high gloss trim and nib all in black. It just has a really nice look to it. The materials do. I think the haptics are also pretty good with this matte finish and the guilloche on the body. I think that is really nice. The nib writes very, very nicely. This has been a good everyday kind of pen for me. And I think the size, unlike the Design 8, which I reviewed, and the grip section are very, very comfortable. Even though this is a shiny grip section, I don't find it slippery. It has just a nice, comfortable size to it, and the weight overall of this pen is quite comfortable. 62 grams total and 36 grams uncapped. I think it works well. I do prefer it unposted, but it's just a very comfortable everyday pen. I think the best everyday writer in the Otto Hutt lineup, at least that I've tried so far. In terms of cons, the looks of this pen I think could be a little bit better. I just don't like the waistline where it's like almost a 50-50 split. I think if they moved it up higher, this would look a lot better. The price, of course, is very high. These are around $1,000 retail. You got a lot of choice of pens when it comes up to that. I think you really have to like the way that this pen looks to be able to justify that price over the equivalent pen from Aurora or Mont Blanc. Now this is all metal, where those are typically plastic pens. This is still a lot. Like under $200, you can have the Faber-Castell Emotion in silver or a black. And honestly, the fit and finish on this is not too far off of this. This is a little bit better, but under $200, $1,000. So it's a tough sell, but I do appreciate the quality. In other cons, it does show fingerprints a little bit. I don't find it too distracting. I find the Otto Hutt, the Design 8 that I reviewed, to show more fingerprints, but that is certainly something to be aware of. Posting it does post. I feel like you're gonna you probably will eventually start marking the barrel if you do that. So I don't really recommend that. But other than that, I think this is a really good fountain pen. You guys have this pen? Do you like this pen? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more fountain pen, paper, and ink videos, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, and until next time.